Hello everyone, this is V Harper from supermarcy.com and welcome back to another review. As you can probably see, I'm going to be reviewing a Wonder Woman movie. Which one? Well, the only one that's really in existence. DC Animated Universe's Wonder Woman, made in 2009 with the vocal talents of Keri Russell, Nathan Fillion, Virginia Madsen, Oliver Platt, Rosario Dawson, and Alfred Molina. So I would like to preface this review by saying this. This is a fantastic movie, but there's also a sense of tragedy attached to it. What do I mean by that? Well, here's the thing. As you have probably no doubt have seen, a lot of superhero movies are slated to be coming out very soon, and that's really, really exciting. But you may notice that a solo Wonder Woman movie is still not being made. I know, it's very, very weird. We have Batman, we have Superman, we have Aquaman, we've got all sorts of superhero characters finally seeing the light of cinematic day. But Wonder Woman, the Amazonian warrior princess goddess, is not. Why is that so? I think we have our ideas, but it's best for me not to get into that, because that will probably make us all very upset. So in saying that, this film is easily within my top 5 of the DC Animated Universe films. It's a little bit strange for me to do this review, not because I didn't like the movie, obviously, but the fact of the matter is, this is the only cornerstone we have for a fantastic Wonder Woman movie. But you know what? It's a fantastic step in the right direction. If they can make a fantastic animated movie like this, there really is no reason why they can't make a fantastic live-action film. But enough of my griping, let's get to the good stuff. Alright, so first and foremost, one of the wonderful things about this film is that it actually takes a few unexpected steps. Not just narratively, not just with the characters, but in the circumstance I'm referring to, the voice actors that I rattled off before. We've got ourselves a wonderful cast, but they're not exactly the people that we would physically associate with their roles. Keri Russell headlines as Diana Prince / Wonder Woman, and she delivers a fantastic performance. But if you were to look at Keri physically, she's a very petite but very pretty young lady. So you wouldn't immediately assume that she would have the vocal range of an Amazonian warrior goddess. But you know what? Apart from Suzanne Eisenberg, who has, voiced Wonder Woman in games and television series and everything like that, I think Keri Russell is a very strong contender for the definitive voice of Wonder Woman. That's it. I'm calling it. And, okay, I should really just go in full bore here. Like I said, the entire cast here is unexpected, but they all fit their roles incredibly well. All of them are very much standouts, especially Alfred Molina as Ares, the god of war. When you see that the physical appearance of Ares, he's a very strong and broad and fearsome and baritonal sort of bad guy, He's like, I am Ares, the god of war, blah, 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 and so, that sort of thing. But the way Alfred Molina plays him, he's got somewhat of a, shall we say, a bit of the naughty. He has a very sly and sensuous type of voice. In the case of this film, Ares uses his powers of persuasion to get what he wants. He has the voice of the devil, essentially. And, quite frankly, it is one of his most, potent powers. The way that he is able to sway other characters to do his bidding, that is a crucial part of his role in this movie. And the way Alfred Molina approaches the role, it is really, really wonderful to listen to. At the beginning of the movie, when he and Queen Hippolyta, voiced by Virginia Madsen, they are on the battlefield and they are fighting, and there's a very strong insinuation that these two have kind of been together, And what's really cool is that the actors have that interplay with each other. That's what they all do. They have a fantastic chemistry with their voices behind and in front of the camera, so to speak. There really is not a single weak performance. And may I also say, Oliver Platt as Hades, the god of the underworld. Once again, when I think of Hades, I think of Hades as a tall and slender and spindly and creepy sort of individual. But this Hades that Oliver Platt voices, he is this obese and gluttonous and fat and sprawling man who sits on a Turkish divan chomping on purple grapes, and he has a very sort of soft and "how are you" sort of voice, but he is prone to really frightening bouts of rage. Everyone in this film is fantastic. It really, really goes without saying. But of course, the movie's merits sway beyond that. For example, the story. The story is completely comic book. I mean, that's really no surprise. But the fact of the matter is, everyone behind this movie believed in what they were doing. They believed in the story writing, they believed in the characters, and they believed in each other to be their support. Nobody in this film, in front of or behind the frames, are dragging their weight. And you can really feel it. Every single visual in this movie. It's really interesting is that, you know, it's not the most theoretically well animated movie in terms of, you know, detail and fluidity and that sort of stuff, but it is incredibly striking, and it's appropriate to the story that it's trying to tell. It's not trying to take itself too seriously, because after all, this is a story about a Greek warrior goddess who comes to Earth and like learns Earth's ways, while at the same time battling the god of war. So obviously this isn't, you know, Christopher Nolan type of universe sort of deal. But you know what? That's fine. That works completely within the favour of the movie. But of course, I don't feel this film would have been nearly as successful if they didn't treat the character of Wonder Woman with the respect that she gets in this film. Yes, it does start as an origin story just to give you a general idea about where she comes from, but from there, everything in this film happens, and not only does Wonder Woman react to it and respond to it, she becomes proactive. She isn't content to just like sit back and react to all these things that are happening to her. If she wants to do something, if she wants to change, you know, the events that are leading up to this point, she will go out there and, you know, she will do whatever she needs to do. That is what Wonder Woman is all about. Wonder Woman is a strong and confident hero. She isn't one to sort of like faint and rely on others to do the dirty work. No, she's the one who goes in there, or, you know, with her fists flying. This, you know, she's an Amazon. She's an Amazon. That's what she does. The fight scenes in this movie perfectly reflect about what a Wonder Woman movie should be about. In the first part of the movie, there is this really long and sprawling and just like action-packed post-apocalyptic war on a battlefield in ancient Greece. And like I said, even though the animation is technically not brilliant, this is the sort of story it's telling. It's almost like seeing an animated Greek relief on a wall, like hieroglyphics and that sort of stuff. You know, seeing these pictograms on the walls of these buildings, and you can see these battle scenes like, I'm sorry, I'm about to sneeze. You can see these scenes of carnage and chaos and all that sort of taking place. When I think about it, it actually heavily reminds me of the Batman animated series, but with a little more polish. But that's not a knock whatsoever, of course. But another fantastic thing about this movie, going back to the character of Wonder Woman, she and Steve Trevor, this is their first meeting. So, you know, when Wonder Woman comes back to Earth, you know, to act as, you know, Themyscira's ambassador, at first she is very, very confused about what's going on. She isn't stupid, she isn't immature or anything like that, but when she sees humans acting the way they do, she isn't one to sort of, you know, sit there silently and sort of, you know, look at her hands and that sort of thing. Like, she will actively ask, why are you doing this? Why are you behaving that way? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you doing this? You know, Wonder Woman is a strategist. She isn't content to just like sit there. She wants to get in on the action. And of course, one of the most wonderful things about this movie is that how easily it escapes all the trappings that could potentially come with a Wonder Woman animated movie. For example, the relationship between Diana and Steve. It could have easily been a battle of the sexes type of storyline, but it becomes two people from very, very different backgrounds coming together, understanding each other's culture, while also getting into conflict. This is how you write a relationship between a man and a woman, if you ask me. I mean, no, I'm obviously not some sort of big falutin Hollywood story writer, but the fact of the matter is, you are dealing with two very different individuals, but at the same time, they're very good people down deep inside. But, that's the culture shock for you. Steve Trevor, voiced by Nathan Fillion in this movie, is more or less in a sense, the anchor of the audience. He is the audience in some circumstances, because even though he's a bit of a jerk, he's still a good guy. And he more or less acts as a foil for Diana, you see. So, how can I put this? He is one who has a very particular, set of values in mind. And when Diana challenges them, he finds himself being completely knocked off guard. But at the same time, he doesn't try to put her down. He doesn't try to say, no, you are wrong, blah, 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 you don't know anything, blah, blah. It's not like that. Even though he is a bit of a jerk to people, and he's a bit of a slut, personally, he's got a good heart within him. It's cool. I really did enjoy the interplay between Diana and Steve, personally. Another really great thing about this movie is that it's not just about Wonder Woman. The different characters around her have their own sort of storylines, as it were. Going around with the character of Ares. Ares actually seduces one of Diana's Amazonian sisters. So he basically makes her betray the Amazonian nation, I should say. And the results of this betrayal is, the consequences are catastrophic. Everything in this film that happens has a consequence. Nobody walks away from something scot-free. And yes, even though when Diana fights, she barely has a bruise on her, that's not a problem here. Once again, Amazonian warrior goddess, hello. Yeah, as you can probably see, I'm making somewhat of a mess of this review, but the fact of the matter is, when we are talking about a Wonder Woman movie, we don't have that much to go off. So when a film like this is made and shows you these things and presents you with all this wonderful material that could have easily become ham-fisted, could have so easily been insulting, and having it like turned on its head, it is refreshing. This film is an exercise in refreshing. Even though it physically doesn't look as superior as, say, like a Disney film, and even though, I guess you could accuse this film of being a bit of a, based on name cast, like, stunt casting, personally, I think everybody is suited to their roles. First and foremost, this is about the characters. This isn't about playing, celebrity or anything like that. This film is very, very unpretentious in the story it wants to tell, and it trusts its audience to, go along with it. It doesn't insult your intelligence. It doesn't insult anything about the Wonder Woman lore. So in saying that, I give Wonder Woman a 5 out of 5. The director of this movie, Lauren Montgomery, this was her first time directing a full-length animated feature. And I gotta say, well done, Lauren. Well done. Like, Montgomery had been working on at the DC Universe Studios for quite some time. So the fact of the matter is, she was trusted to make this movie happen. She was the one who was more than partly responsible for making sure that this film was running on schedule and everybody else was united. So in a sense, Miss Montgomery herself is Wonder Woman. That sounded corny. Thank you very much, guys, and I shall see you again in the next video. Bye bye!